I have 6 things on this chalkboard. Japan, explain it. It's a treadmill. It's this crazy treadmill, and they can't get off it. They can't speed up, and they can't slow down. China is a house of mirrors. Gold is insurance. We're the safest house on the block, but that changes with number 5, civil unrest. Okay. What we're seeing in Minnesota is so incredibly dangerous if this spreads. Let me first remind you that our DOJ, FBI, CISA, all of these things have been issuing public warnings for a few years now saying, look, disinformation. We know, we have the videos of these giant server farms where they all have iPhones plugged into them. And I mean, there are thousands, tens of thousands of phones. And these bots are just sending out, posts and reposting from the other bot and everything else. And you're not getting the truth anymore. You think you're getting something real, but you're not. The algorithms are all being affected because China and Russia, our 2 biggest enemies, and Iran, they have these giant farms where they are pushing fake social media out. And what are they doing? Why would China benefit from chaos here in America? How does that possibly benefit them? Well, what is our greatest strength? A lot of people will say our weapon systems, but it's not. It's not. Our greatest strength as a country comes from certain rules of law, the law of contracts, the law of property, that we are stable, that we're generally a well-educated, I don't know if I can say this one anymore, but well-educated group of people, and that we're hard workers. If America fractures into constant street conflict or a national divorce, what happens? What happens? What has Donald Trump been doing for the last 12 months? And he's been bragging about it, and people don't seem to care because I don't think they understand what this means. But he's been saying, I've got $18 trillion of investment coming in. $18 trillion, never been done before. You're right, never been done before. Not even close, never been done before. But what does that actually mean? That means that foreign companies are investing in America. They're building factories here in America. Now, why would they do that? They do that for a couple of reasons. One, the tariffs. I'm going to make it so expensive you're not going to be able to sell a truck in the United States. Build them in the United States and I'll help you out. There's one reason. The other reason is every other market is collapsing. And so they're looking for something stable, something where nobody's going to come and grab their company. Nobody's going to put new rules on them and make them go out of business. They're looking for something that has constitutional order and is stable. So it's worth their while to do 2 things. One, make sure that the biggest market, or now second biggest market in the world, is still buying our products without tariffs. And let's hedge our bet that some of the places we do business in, for instance, even Germany, Japan, it may not work. And we may have to be offshore someplace that is stable so we don't lose everything. Okay. If America fractures, that investment is no longer good. That investment from all over the globe is bad. They take that money and they're like, I'm not investing there because you can't trust that. That thing's about to collapse. What happens? Credit tightens. Insurance costs explode. Retirement accounts get hammered. And the people who suffer first are not the powerful. They're the ordinary ones. Civil disorder does not punish the system. It punishes the family. And I want you to hear this clearly. I don't care if it was the left or the right that is doing what the left is now doing in Minnesota. There are no winners in this path. I'd be giving this exact same monologue if it was a bunch of quote-unquote patriots that were doing it. No, you're not. America loses. Every American loses, and some will lose everything. And China and Russia and everybody else will watch, and they will smile. Why? Because all of that money, all of that business will have to find some other place to invest. It will have to go some other place. Where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go to China. That's why China is pushing civil unrest. Okay? Half of what you see is manufactured. And it's either manufactured online or it's manufactured as these riots. This is not spontaneous. This is all a show. It's planned. And it's paid for largely in part by China. So we are on this really dangerous ice cliff, and that's why gold is at $5,100, because this thing could crumble at any time. Now, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I mean, how do you possibly weather a storm like that? Well, there's a few things, and I want to get into this. I'll get into it briefly. If I don't have time to finish it, I'll hit on it tomorrow. But universal rules for everybody. That's why I've been saying we got to have equal justice under the law, equal justice, universal rules for everybody, the rich and the poor. You also need to build a runway. And, you know, they always say have 30 days of cash. That's a lot for most people. You're going to be able to cover all your bills for 30 days. I'm saying you got to have a runway of cash, you know, some kind of money that will cover not, you know, the fantasy life, the fantasy budget, but the stuff that is crucial that you have, just crucial. And it should be for months, not weeks. Kill right now any kind of fragile debt, variable rate, consumer debt. If you can get out of it, if you can consolidate it into a lower, get out of it right now. Okay. Don't rely on constant credit. If there is any other option, cut. Assume that lenders are going to tighten exactly when you need them. So you got a credit card you can count on. You may not be able to count on it soon. Then you also have to have the practical resilience. You need to focus on your skills. What skill do I hung some lights this weekend in my house, and my wife was like, "What are you doing? You're going to electrocute yourself." And I'm like, "Honey, I know how to hang basic lights for the I know how to hang basic lights, for the love of Pete. But I have very few real life skills, very few, because I've done this my whole life. And I thought, oh, it'll always be like this. It's not going to be like that. What skills do I actually have? Strengthen your community ties. Know people. Build local networks. And, you know, you need to diversify, not ideology, but assets, income streams, skills, anything you can do so you're not relying on just one thing. And stay employable. You know, the next era is going to reward adaptability over titles. Let me take a quick break, and then I think I'll just break it down into age groups, because I think this is really important. What do I do? I'm 35. I don't own a house. I don't, whatever. Great. Let me try to explain this to what you need to do to be prepared for this next phase. Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.